Now this is going to be a Blu-ray update. Mixture of titles, Arrow, Scream Factory, and a few others besides. First of all, I'm going to show 3 films that Signal One Entertainment kindly enough sent me to review. First up is The Trip, Roger Corman directed film from 1967. The plot, it's basically about a TV commercial director, played by Peter Fonda. He's looking for a few distractions, he's having a messy divorce, and he decides to go on an LSD trip. Meets various people, has very strange visions, and contemplates aspects of his life. I was really surprised how much I enjoyed this. It's undoubtedly strange in parts, but it's not quite as out there as you'd think. You know, it's very much product of its time. You get the psychedelic free love, so forth. I think at the same time, Corman he succeeded in making something a lot deeper. He highlights both the good and bad effects of a trip. You know, there's some really amusing sequences. Laundry scene in particular, that's a really funny sequence. And particularly as well when Bruce Dern asks Fonda for a drink, that's really funny. Fonda plays that so well, as does Dern. But there's some really strange, creepy sequences, some of Fonda's dreams, very strange, very dark, gothic imagery going on. In my view, this is kind of a juxtaposition of Fonda's experiences. It makes a more compelling and honest film. You know, they're both good and bad aspects of a LSD trip. It's a shame because American International Pictures, they didn't see this sort of ambiguity and decided to tack on a cautionary prologue and a more suggestive ending, and that kind of, you know, went against Corman's wishes. But you know, thankfully this release restores Corman's original vision. Though the alternative prologue and ending is included on the extras, you know, and thankfully, you know, the film kind of omitted them because it makes it just seems tacked on and unnecessary. It was banned in the UK as well for 35 years. Apparently, it glamorised LSD, which is just absurd. Don't get me started on censorship. You know, it's just crazy in this day and age. As far as performances, Fonda, Dern, Dennis Hopper, it's fantastic. Dern's almost like Fonda's kind of guide at first. Getting him into the LSD. Hopper's like a guru that hooks him up with it. Fonda drew from his own experiences. Hopper and Corman took acid as preparation, which kind of makes you wonder with the gothic sequences, really Poe-esque, and you could probably see that with the work Corman was doing at the time, a lot of Edgar Allan Poe stuff. Dern abstained, however. Dern didn't do drugs. He said he was mostly on Coca-Cola. That kind of gave him he said he just took repeated like Coca-Cola, and he said that kind of like got him in the mood, as it were, for the character. There's an interesting point as well, because the film was written by Jack Nicholson. At the time he was going through a messy divorce, and apparently he was a frequent user of LSD, and he of course would later team up with Fonda and Hopper for Easy Rider. I think The Trip deserves to be seen as an important film in its own right, rather than a stepping stone, something great. I know Nicholson wanted the Dern role, but I think Dern was fantastic in this. I think he kind of nailed the part. The transfer looks excellent for a fairly low budget film of the period. I didn't have the previous MGM release, but I understand this is a big improvement. Short of an expensive restoration, I can't really imagine it looking any better, to be fair. I know there's an upcoming US release from Olive, but on past form it's probably likely to be less robust than the Signal One release, due to poorer encoding. It's also very likely to be bare bones, as Olive releases often are, which brings me on to the extensive extras found on this release. There's an audio commentary, Corman. That's important from the old MGM release. If you've seen or heard any interviews or commentaries from Corman, you'll know he's always informative and entertaining. I love Corman. And most importantly, he's very honest, and this is no different. There's a particularly interesting section when he talks about the relationship with AIP. He made and produced quite a few of their films. I'm not always impressed by commentary tracks, but this one is definitely worth a listen to. Another extra import from the old MGM DVDs, the featurette tune-in Trip Out. This features Corman, along with other cast and crew, including Bruce Dern. And then that's within that documentary. That's where Bruce Dern talks about the drug use and how he wasn't a fan of it. Corman talks about the script and preparation, which I was surprised he included him taking his various LSD trips, but I suppose that's a dedication to your art, I guess. There's also, as I said, a deleted prologue and an alternative ending with optional commentary from Corman. Both of these are actually added to the release cuts of the film by AIP without Corman's knowledge or consent. I won't spoil the alternative ending, but it offers a different overall message of the film, which I don't think is necessary. There's also an interview with Alan DeVoe, who's responsible for the psychedelic effects of the film. To complement this, there's also a separate montage of the psychedelic light effects in the film, which goes on for around about 5 to 6 minutes. On top of this, you also get to stand the train, a brief gallery of stills and posters. The prologue's about 45 seconds long, alternative ending's about 3 minutes. Both of that include a commentary from Corman. The commentary seems to have been snipped from the features audio commentary on the MGM DVD release. The main presentation, which incorporated ARP's prologue and ending. But yeah, it's really good release. I'd really recommend this film. Great performances, very well directed, definitely out there, and yeah, this was a really good film. The second tile, which was sent to me, was a film called Gas, aka How It Became Necessary to Destroy the World in Order to Save It. This is a Corman directed film again, from 1970. The plot, it's a dark comedy about a young hippie couple, various groups and survivors they encounter while journeying from Dallas to an apparent utopia in New Mexico. It follows a gas leak from a military facility which kills everyone in the US over the age of 25. Now, I wasn't really sure if this was for me going into the film, and on this occasion my suspicions were unfortunately correct. They go for a lot of satire here with targets ranging from the government and authority in general to the film industry, and while one or two moments made me laugh, part of the Native Americans, that was fairly funny. Much of it didn't really work, and looking at reviews, I didn't think I'm the only one which thinks the film's a bit of a misfire. But comedy, of course, it's entirely subjective, so others are bound to agree or disagree. My overriding feeling though was that Corman, in my view, a very underrated director who's so much better than this. I understand. I think he was trying to make another sort of counterculture film following The Wild Angels and The Trip, but this time about youth culture. But for me, it seems very, very amateurish in places. As obviously he didn't really feel comfortable with the material. I've since read that the film has been drastically re-edited by IP. Might be the case that Corman's original cut was much better, but unfortunately you probably never know it. The transfer, again, I didn't have the old MGM DVD, but this one looks great. The film's probably better shot than The Trip, so it benefits more from a strong transfer. I'm guessing any eventual US release will probably come from Olive, probably a weaker encoding as well, and it won't have any English subtitles or extras, so yeah, I'll definitely pick up this release. The main extras are 2 lengthy audio commentaries with Corman. One was recorded in 1970, the other one in 91, both at the same venue, National Film Theatre. Both of these are presented as alternative audio tracks. There's also a 10-minute featurette called Counterculture Corman, which features Corman along with various film historians talking about gas and the trip and the Wild Angels. And there's a gallery of lobby cards and stills. So not quite for me, but you know, some people might enjoy it. Just wasn't my cup of tea personally. So yeah, the film, you know, wasn't, you know, quite for me, but it's a stellar release, you know, chock full of extras, audio commentaries. You know, it's a fantastic release for the film, and you know, certainly worth picking up. Right, lastly, they sent me a film I'm very familiar with. One of my sort of film heroes, really. You know, particularly when I saw Cole talking, Juice Lives talking about men in cinema, and you know, this is probably one of the most manliest actors that there's ever been, and it's Mr. Majestic with Charlie Bronson. Love this film. As there's so many Bronson performances I love. Bronson plays Vince Majestic. He's a watermelon farmer, ex Vietnam veteran, living in Colorado. He's in police custody on some dubious assault charge, and he meets mob hitman Frank Render, played by just the great Al Lettieri. Most people would know him from Godfather. He's fantastic in this, and one of his best performances of very few performances, sadly, you know, dying at a young age. And yeah, he finds himself in an escape attempt involving Render's men. Majestic foils this, but Render manages to escape, and he's hell-bent on revenge. And you know, he inevitably learns the hard way. You know, don't fuck with Bronson, as most people do. You know, to their chagrin eventually. The film's great. Just a great 70s action revenge film, which I'm a great fan of anyway. And they really don't make him like this anymore. They really, you won't see the likes of these films again, particularly with the quality of actors. One of my favourite scenes ever in a Bronson film is when is this big event going to take place. I'll just leave it. I don't want to spoil the scene, but it's just fantastic. Paul Koslo is great in this as well. He's a small-time crook. Always plays a piece of shit. Paul Koslo, and he's fantastic in it. Al Lettieri again, you know, great acting, you know, great in The Getaway. McHugh, Godfather. Just he's such a real good, and you know, real life, you know, hard man. Family links, and I think his wife was a sister of one of the Genoveses, and I'm pretty sure he was an enforcer for them at one time. I'm pretty sure he was. I read that somewhere. The director was Richard Fleischer, and just amazing CV. Vikings, great film. Boston Strangle, love that film. 10 Rillington Place. New Centurions, which is a really underrated one. I'll definitely watch out if you've never seen that film. Saul and Green, Don is Dead, Spike's Gang. Spike's Gang's an awesome film. Written by Elmore Leonard. I mean, it's the last screenplay he did. Elmore Leonard just can't believe the amount of, just the wealth of writing from the man is just unbelievable. You know, just so many different scripts and stories, just fantastic. He actually intended this for Eastwood, but he did High Plains Drifter instead. Another great film. So, transfer. The Blu-ray was first issued in Germany before Kino released it. Had the Kino release. This new release seems to use the same transfer, which is already very good. Nothing wrong with it at all. No damage. The encoding is much stronger here, though. Makes it the best release of Mr. Majestic to date. And if you need any further incentive, there's also some great extras on this release. While the Kino is none apart from the trailer, which is a shame. So if you're a fan of this film and Bronson, you know, the Signal 1 release, this is the one to pick up. It's commentary with Bronson expert Paul Talbot. Provides loads of interesting stories and production, and Bronson in general, definitely worth a listen. Into Richard Klein, director of photography, talks about technical aspects. And a longer interview with actress Lee Purcell, plays Al Lettieri's lawyer, talks about other acting roles and she speaks fondly of Bronson and Lettieri. And again, there's a gallery and trailer, and yeah, you know, definitely give Signal One, you know, your support. It released some really great stuff. On the Beach, Little Girl Lives Down the Lane, Last Embrace, and they've got some great films coming up as well. Doc, Corruption, 7-Ups, absolute classic 7-Ups. So yeah, definitely show me support. You know, thank you again for sending me these titles to review. And yeah, you show them the support because, you know, they're well deserving of it. Now, the upcoming titles is a mixed bag here of stuff. First, there's a lot of Kino stuff here. We've got Ray Milland in Man with the X-Ray Eyes. Great cover art, that. I like Ray Milland a lot. Good actor, kind of just went on to some very interesting career in the 70s. Don Rickles is in this as well. I love Don Rickles. Don Rickles isn't for everybody, but I like him. I love him. I do. Ray Milland in Premature Burial. Person Edgar Allan Poe story. Roger Corman, fantastic film. Great atmospheric film. Really well directed. Really good film. Really enjoyed this. Fantastic cover art as well. Kino, I can't, the amount of Kino titles I've been buying recently is insane. I know I've said this in previous videos, but really the output is fantastic. Another great one. House of the Long Shadows. I mean, look, with, you know, those three alone, plus Carradine, you know, Price, Lee, Cushing, just true. Oh man, you never see the like again. I don't know, it sounds kind of whimsical and, you know, living in the past and that, but you just never see the likes again. You never will. You know, when Lee died, just it's the last of them really. You know, Vincent Price, I just love him to bits, and Cushing, just the quintessential English gentleman. Sadly, you don't see their likes that much anymore. Just fantastic actor. Another great film, Burnt Offerings, which I need to revisit. Karen Black, Oliver Reed, Lee Montgomery as well. Directed by Dan Curtis. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen this. It's not a very weird ending. Love Oliver Reed as well. Yeah, definitely need to revisit this one. It's weird. I can't remember much about it. Another film I've never seen is from Kino. Shocker of the 80s, according to Variety. Yeah, it's a Savage Weekend. Never seen this one. William Sanderson, who I just absolutely just love. William Sanderson. Fight for Your Life. Oh man, what a great film that is. Absolutely love that film. This is a Carrie rip-off, and I have to say, pretty enjoyable. The ending should have been more satisfying. You know, the way the ending of Carrie was, it was, you know, once she got her revenge, so to speak. This is Jennifer, kind of like Carrie with snakes. Yeah, interesting film. It's just the ending, it just needs to be just more satisfying, you know, like, you know, especially I thought the way that it should have been a lot more formulaic, the ending, just revenge on the bullies, but it was kind of weird the way they did it. It wasn't as satisfying. It's weird because I actually enjoyed it up to that point. Now this is an excellent film. Reminded me a lot of Casting the Runes, story by M.R. James. It's Burn Witch Burn. Cracking film. Really enjoyed this film. Stars Peter Wyngarde from The Innocents. He's a professor, and I don't really want to say too much about the film. Let's just say dark forces enter his life and begin to terrorise him. But there's one scene in this when he plays a tape and his wife tells him to turn off the tape and things begin to happen in the house. Really eerie. I mean, I was watching it fairly late at night, and I tell you what, it began to creep me out a little bit. Yeah, but really good. You know, if it really reminds me, if you ever like a Casting the Runes story, it really reminded, very M.R. James, like the academic in crisis, in, you know, going down a dark path. Really reminded me of, had that sort of feel. It's a really interesting film. I really enjoyed it. Right, I have a mix. What I might do, I'm going to show some of the hour releases now. I picked up Blood Rage. Not a bad film. The film is just loaded with extras, and it's not too bad. It's, you know, it's got some comedic elements to it. You know, kind of like a Last of the Slashers. I think, yeah, shot in 80. No, it's not Last of the Slashers. I believe it was filmed in 87. It wasn't filmed in 83. Yeah, you know, there's some, you know, fairly good bits in it, and I enjoyed it. It's a, you know, above average slasher. You know, it was enjoyable. Now there's a mixture of stuff down here. I think I'll show this first. Pick this up, the Black Cats box, Edgar Allan Poe. Two adaptations by Sergio Martino and Lucio Fulci. Yeah, I haven't watched Only I Have the Key yet. No, yeah, Your Vice Lockroom. I haven't watched that yet, but Black Cat I've seen a few times. Really good one. Really like that film. Absolutely love Patrick McGee. Such a great actor. It's just, you know, I think probably most British kind of viewers will probably remember him from Zulu, but he's been in just, you know, just loads. You know, Barry Lyndon, Asylum, Love him in Asylum. There's so many others as well. I can't even remember how many films I've seen McGee in. Yeah, this is a fantastic release. Arrow really, I mean, just churning about. Another great one. Necromantic 2. Now look, I realise these aren't for everybody. I can't. I mean, I still value my old Necromantic 1 and 2 release on DVD. I had the old VHS style release of the first one, and the second Necromantic 2 DVD cut. I don't even know how much I spent on that. I must have spent about 70 quid on that DVD. I'm sure I did. I can't remember the company that brought it out. Now, I prefer the first film. Loads of extras. Now look, we know you're Booker, right? This film is very acquired taste. Very acquired. Not many people are going to like Necromantic 1. They probably won't like this that much either. I love the films. I don't think it's as strong as the first film, but the ending is just amazing. It's an amazing ending. You know, and I've got such a soft spot for these films, and I'm not a massive fan of VHS, you know, films from that period. But with these, I'll definitely make an exception, because you know, as I said, I prefer the first one. But the second film is great. I really enjoy it, but not for everybody. You know, definitely an acquired taste. Now, one of my favourite Argentos, I suppose. Look, Argento's done so many good films, and again, this is just loaded with extras. Deep Red, an immense film. Absolutely just love this film. Love David Hemmings. He's so good in this. Great ending. Soundtrack's amazing. Comes with a soundtrack, I think. Yes, definitely get that. I've got that. I've had most of the Argento soundtracks on my iPod anyway. But yeah, this is just sensational. Just it's just a great film. When Argento was on form, I know, you know, sometimes I like them both, Fulci and Argento, but there's just a certain style to Argento, you know, when he's on top form. But I love them both. But this is a great film. Great ending as well. One of Argento's best. Right, I have a few Scream titles now. I picked up the Vincent Price collection. Second one. Picked this up for Turn the Fly. Last Man on Earth. And House on Haunted Hill. I never had the DVD of House on Haunted. I've seen it. I need to rewatch that film. I remember loving it. Again, you know, I would kind of like it to have been, you know, some of the Vincent Prices, you know, an actual, you know, maybe some slimline kind of case, a slightly bigger box, you know, considering what you pay for them. But, you know, that's, you know, I understand what Scream are going for. I picked up Dog Soldiers. I've been holding off on this for a while. The transfer, it's not as bad as I originally thought it was going to be. Some of the night sequences, though, still they're not supposed to look that. It's too bright. It's just. I can't imagine Marshall wanted that. Yeah, even though he said he did. I'm sorry, man. I just can't see that, because those scenes are meant to be coming up to twilight, practically done. I mean, particularly of a dark kind of like you know Scotland where it's purported to be filmed. You know, it's too clear. And if you ever watch the original, I cannot forget who released the DVD over it. I've still got the DVD, the English release DVD. It looks so much better. It looks so much more atmospheric. You know, it's far too clear. It's too bright. But you know, I picked it up for the film as well because the film's amazing. I think, does it carry the audio commentary from the DVD? No, it doesn't. It doesn't carry the audio. Well, it's got the audio commentary with Neil Marshall, but there's another audio commentary with the cast, which is brilliant. I don't think it includes it on this, which is a shame. But yeah, Dark Soldier is a classic film. Saw it at the cinema years ago. Absolutely love it. Really, really good film. Now another film revisited. I loved this film when I first watched it, and I watched it on DVD around about 4 or 5 years ago, and I don't think the DVD transfer did it justice. But it's Shocker, and it's such a fun film. It really is. It's just a Mitch Pileggi's so good in this film. Peter Berg's great in it as well. I mean, he's gone on to much bigger things now. Yeah, it's just such a fun film. You know, one of Wes Craven's really underrated films. I really think that the finale of the film, when they're jumping in and out of various TV shows, I think is real genius. Just really, really enjoyable horror film. You know, you can just watch and enjoy. It's fantastic. Mitch is so good in this. You know, they're definitely a worthy double bill with you know, House 3, the horror show. I love that film as well. I know some people aren't a fan of that, but you know, I love Lance Henriksen. Yeah, but that's a great film. Really, really good. And another great film. One of my favourite 90s horror films. I think this is just a brilliant film. William Sadler, Billy Zane. Just great film. Demon Knight. This is love this film. Great practical effects. Gory, great script. Really, really good. Now, Bordello of Blood, not so much. Didn't really enjoy that. I think they were going to do 3, weren't they? Which was going to be Demon Knight, Bordello of Blood, and Dusk Till Dawn was going to be one of the Tales from the Crypt movies. But you know, eventually, of course, Rodriguez went to direct it and make it, you know, bigger. But yeah, the cast is great as well. Dick Miller stars in it as well. It's Thomas Hayden Church. Yeah, it's a great film. I love it, and I love Tales from the Crypt. But this is just one of the best. When was this film? I think it was 95, but it's the last really of the really enjoyable lower budget 90s horror films. It's great. I couldn't recommend it enough. It's fantastic. Really, really good film. And last but not least, the film I just was really blown away by. I heard good reviews. Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, Matthew Fox, Richard Jenkins, and it's Bone Tomahawk. Film begins with a quite gruesome murder where a band of travellers are being killed by 2 robbers, David Arquette and Sid Haig. Sid Haig ends up being killed by a group of troglodytes, cave-dwelling Indians, and Arquette runs and he draws this group into a small settlement, which results in Patrick Wilson's wife being kidnapped along with Arquette and another, I think it's a deputy to the sheriff, Kurt Russell. So Patrick Wilson with broken leg joins Kurt Russell. Sheriff Richard Jenkins is the elderly deputy. Matthew Fox is the experienced one of the group. He's fought Indians before. His mother and 2 sisters were killed in an Indian raid. It goes on a fair long time. It's around about 2 hours and 10 minutes. Cinematography is fantastic. A real sense of foreboding. Some of the scenes. I thought Matthew Fox is acting with his horse. I thought he did that really well. I'm not a massive fan of the actor, I've got to be honest. After just sitting through Lost through loads of years, I've always found him a bit of a bland actor, but I always thought he could do emotion well, and he does emotion very well in this. But and look, Kurt Russell is he is one of the last manly actors I can't begin to tell you how much I love Kurt. I love Kurt so much. Love him as an actor. I love his stance he takes. He just doesn't care what people think. He's fantastic. And they hunt down. They eventually comes to a climactic event with the troglodytes. So I think I'll tell you, some of them in this are pretty fucking menacing. Direction's great. The script's fantastic. The violence is, oof. I tell you. Even I don't normally get shocked, but there was one scene in this that was unbelievably savage. Even I was, and I've seen so much. I mean, you can see in all the updates. I normally say, "Oh, look, this bit's amazingly violent." I'm talking intensely, savagely violent. I mean, probably one of the most agonising deaths I could ever imagine someone to suffer. Real good. Ending was fantastic. Just a great film. Cannot recommend it highly enough. It's just, I can't heap enough praise on it. It was just brilliant throughout. Everything about it, direction, script, just brilliant. It was just so good. Really good. Yeah, Bone Tomahawk. Definitely watch this film. But again, if you're squeamish, and I think you'll know when the scene's about to come. It gives you a long sort of drawn out sequence before. You know it's building up to something. If you're squeamish, prepare yourself accordingly. It's great. I won't say anything about it. I won't spoil it. I suppose I've already spoiled it enough. But yeah, that's the end of the update. Again, thank you for Signal One Entertainment for sending me, kind enough to send me those 2 titles to review. And I will be back with another update shortly with a mixed bag of titles. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for your comments. And I will see you soon. Cheers.